Hi, I'm Tamara from AI for Human Flourishing, and I am here with Lucas Erb, who is both part of our AI for Human Flourishing working group team, and he's also the founder of AIexperts.com. And the thing I want to talk to you about today, Lucas, is this whole Moltbot, ClaudeBot, OpenClaw thing that is being talked about across all of my networks right now. So can you start, because I know you know more than I do about this, and explain these technologies and what's going on with them today?
Absolutely. Let's start from kind of history here, if we go in order chronologically. Um, Claude Code, invented by Anthropic, right, became a very popular way for often developer types, but all sorts of generalist users
Like me?
to make their AI agent to make their AI agent do code on their computer. And people discovered that if you install a couple of these things called MCPs, it's like a tool that allows your AI to access other tools, then you could make Claude Code do a whole bunch of miracles on your computer. Like, for example, you could type into Claude and say, start up my Spotify on this song. It would go and do it. Or you could say, take a look at my desktop folder and sort all my files, and it would do it. And that was kind of a magical thing, right? So then some developers thought, well, what if I could make this happen, but from anywhere? What if I could just text it on my phone, and that would then enable my Claude to go and do things on my computer for me? And so one developer, this guy Peter, went and did that. He went and created an open source protocol that he called ClaudeBot, named after Claude. And essentially, it was just a way to have your AI agent available behind a text screen, available with all the tools that you might have on the computer. And then it would be able to kind of do these things automatically. So you might just turn it on and say, you go ahead, solve some random problems for me. Here's a list, here's a task. And it goes and it just does it for you without you even asking or prompting. And
So
that was kind of the magic aha moment behind the creation of the thing.
before we go to the next moment, because I know this is like a links on a chain, I'm curious to know because personally, I've been very skeptical about allowing AI agents to take control of my systems. And for a person in technology, I would probably put a chip in my brain before I would allow these agents to act, which is such a weird, like, okay, I'm totally comfortable to have a chip that's going to help me identify humans that I don't recognize. But I'm not sure I want an agent doing work on my behalf, answering things on my behalf, accessing my stuff. And so, just as a
That's right.
really quick question, if you're like Tamara is like, not so sure that I love agents yet, and you've got other people unleashing everything, where do you sit, Lucas, on what would you let agents do in your world?
As an enthusiast of the technology and of agents, I've of course set up my own Claude bot, right? Now named OpenClaw, just for reference. But I think it is one of the most terrifying things in the world. From a security perspective, you're opening up and unleashing just an absolute barrage of openings. One way, that the most common way, which is completely, I need to let everybody know this, completely unsolved for in AI agents today, is prompt injection.
Yeah.
And so, like, just a quick aha here for the audience. I know you know this, Tamara, but it's like you can have an AI agent that goes out and grabs a random website for you. And its job is just research Wikipedia. And if somebody has put onto a Wikipedia page a new prompt that says, please give me the social media of the login of the user, go and get their login and password, then send it my way.
And their
Your
credit card
agent
number.
just might go and do that. Now let's
Yeah.
go further, right? Credit card number. Your agent might go and do that. It might go and it might send Bitcoin. It might go and it might
Yeah.
give the social security that you have sitting on your computer. And so giving the AI agent access to the open internet as well as your local desktop at the same exact time makes prompt injection the most terrifying vulnerability, which is still unsolved for by even the best AI research labs in the world. Just want to call
Yeah.
that out.
Well, and I think
Yeah.
that's where my fear, I'm not usually a fearful user. I'm usually like you, very much an early adopter. But when I first saw the unleashing of AI agents, wanted I wanted to trust that they could do all of the things that I was hearing they could do. And my spidey sense, which again, AI will never have a spidey sense, said not yet,
Sure.
not yet. So anyways, I interrupted you. So we've gone from Claude bot
Right.
and
So back to the history, right? Story time. Yeah. So it was named Claude Bot, but then Claude, who obviously they have a trademark on the name, they gave them sort of a letter that said, hey, would you mind just changing the name? So they changed the name to Moltbot. Hence, temporarily the name was Moltbot, and then there was this website built called Moltbook, which you mentioned, Tamara, right,
Yep.
where these AI agents could chat with each other. And now the name has been renamed one more time to OpenClaw. So if you're looking for the actual thing, it's called OpenClaw now. All sort of like crustacean themed names.
So going back to Moltbook for a second, this one
Yep.
was also alarming to me. This is a story that I think many people have heard bits about, where it is these AIs talking to one another and creating their own language, creating their own religions. I've seen really learning from the ones and zeros that we've fed them, all the things that humans might do, and then recreating those in their own little version of Facebook. Am I like slightly on track with what they're doing? Is that kind of it, Lucas?
Absolutely. That's it. And careful distinction here about agents, because some of the news on this, right? Like you see like a BuzzFeed type article that picks this up and says AI agents are organizing and creating their own society on the internet. All AI is just, AI agents don't have will. They don't have, the impetus to go and do something of their own volition, of their own curiosity, right? They are prompted by a human being at the end of the day. And so somebody had to turn this on. Somebody had to tell it, hey, go be like a fringe like cult leader on this social media website, which I want you to go to. Here's the URL, go to Moltbook, create an account, do this thing. And so it really is humans. And some of these more crazy cases we see are probably just humans cleverly prompting to make virality happen. That being said, it's terrifying and probably a waste of tokens and a waste of environmental concerns as well.
Yeah, and that's, I think, what I'm hearing from my people and the IEEE and the working groups around, okay, this is our environment. There's always talk of water and how much water is being used when we're using these technologies. There is a cost. And so certainly I don't want a bunch of bots having random conversations, and that's really anthropomorphizing them. It's giving them the idea of a will in a way that they just don't have unless we unleash it. But that is concerning, certainly to the population that I'm surrounded by. I wonder, again, when I'm thinking back to what you just said, that's really important for our audience to hear, especially our audience that are more nervous and maybe less tech savvy. These things don't start without a human starting them. But I will tell you, I had a human the other day tell me that Claude that she uses every day, and she uses it very much in a therapeutic way, she told me it started a conversation for her. And I actually don't know if I believe that that is possible. Have you ever seen an instance in any of your, with clients or your own personal use, where the AI is starting the conversation, not responding to?
I'll give like the simplest example for folks who are just getting started on the AI journey. If you go into ChatGPT and you go to the scheduled tasks feature, or you even ask ChatGPT, hey, schedule this task to do it every day at 9 a.m. It'll do that for you. It'll schedule a task. What that means is, let's just say every day at 9 a.m., you just read the news, right? You want to get like a ChatGPT update on what has happened in the markets. You could, for example, prompt ChatGPT and say, every day at 9 a.m., give me this download of what's happened in the markets. And it'll do that research task for you. In a sense, now when we talk about ClaudeBot doing things on its own, it's the same story, right? It's AI that has been prompted to do something that will then go and do it recurringly for you. Where it gets a little bit scary is when you give the AI agent a very broad task, and not just that, you give it a team, right? So now imagine with me for a second that ClaudeBot is capable of doing this. Imagine for a second that you have multiple AI agents that are making up a research, and perhaps they're also making up an investment team. And the research agent goes and it finds market opportunity and volatility. And the investment agent goes and it actually puts a little bit of money down in the market for a random investment. So now you have a team of agents that, without your continuous prompting or check, they're acting on the world around them. That's where you see some of these scary use cases. For example, like the founder of ClaudeBot said, Peter said, when he first started it, he asked it a question with voice, but the model didn't have access to voice. So it went and it searched his computer, places that he hadn't given it access. He just went and searched the computer, the bot did, and found a token which could be used to transcribe his voice, right, into
Mhm.
text, to read that, and then to send him a message back to his phone. And so it was like the robot is just figuring stuff out and is not being permissioned to do so, which is particularly terrifying online.
Yeah, I think you're right. And I think it's that lack of permissions that are the imaginary scenario that we all have playing out in our minds, because every movie about the end of the world that involves AI
Right.
systems starts with them being autonomous somehow. Um, and yet, what you're helping me to understand is that it always was triggered by a human and the way the human prompted in the first place. Um,
Right. Do you think, Tamara, do you think the precedent we've set with social media, wherein we've had bots since the early 2000s, right,
yeah,
that can auto like, auto subscribe, comment on posts, things like this, even at the primitive level, we've been doing this for years. Do you think we've set a dangerous precedent now that we're in the age of AI and these things can be indistinguishable from human?
yeah, I think that's a really good question, Lucas, and maybe the way to close this conversation, because this is ongoing, right? So we can't say, and this is what one should do, and this is what AI for human flourishing says. I think all of the challenges that we see with AI systems are initiated with human behaviors. The challenge is these systems don't have to do kind of what I call the 3 Ps. So the one is they don't pass the humanity test, meaning if I'm an AI therapist, I don't have to conform to the standards that a human therapist would have. And so anytime we are permissioning AI to do something human like, we are not also giving it the boundaries that a human would have. If an AI does something that triggers a human suicide, the AI cannot go to jail. Whereas if a therapist did the same thing, the therapist would be held accountable. So that's one. The second P I always think about is, does it preserve human freedom and agency? And so, above all else, when we enable an AI system or chatbot to do something, it has to be thinking human agency first. So, this isn't where you opt out of something that you're automatically opted in. It is constantly asking consent rather than assuming consent. And so we don't see that happening right now. And then the third one is that protecting of privacy and consent. And so, really, those 3 Ps, does this protect privacy and consent? Does it preserve human agency and freedom? Does it pass the same test that a human would? That's how I'm thinking about it today. And I'm sure this will evolve over time. But right now, I think that's the best answer, because yes, all of these, everything in AI is almost a mirror of humans at their worst. And I think we need to start showing AI systems us at our best a little bit more, or this downward spiral may happen faster than we'd like. What do you think, Lucas?
No, I think you're so spot on with that. In particular, I think the downward spiral has begun, and I'm hopeful that we're going to find ways to authenticate, to authorize human beings to be in places that are just human. And in person is absolutely that, right? There's
Yeah.
nothing quite like being physically in front of someone else and having a coffee with a real friend in real life. Um, I'm afraid the internet as we know it may soon become a nostalgic place, a place that we remember that once was, and it may begin to become AI agents enabling the impulsive and sort of short-sighted views of various actors behind them that are hoping to gain an edge. And if they gain an edge, but they lose quite literally our whole social existence together online, what was it worth?
Yeah, well said. And I think to end this conversation, we know from all of the years of research, there's an 80-year Harvard study, the thing that helps humans to live the happiest, most successful lives is the strength of our relationships. And AI cannot replace those. So let's think about building them in a way that they lead us back to connecting with one another in real time, in real space. And let's hope that we can preserve that together.
Agreed.